welcome everybody. Guess who came in last minute tonight? Mr. Jack Hoppy. All right, Matthew, how's it going?
Hey, Wick. Hey, Eric. Good, and yourselves?
Good. Good to see you. Good to see you. And good to see you too, Wick. I missed you last week.
Likewise. Yeah. Father's Day festivities last week kept me away.
Yeah. Did you guys have a good Father's Day?
Yeah, can't complain. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I got good Father's Day too. My kids called me, and that was good. Called my dad, and all was good. So, what was I going to say? I have a couple call outs tonight. We have a new channel to me, relatively new to me. I've been watching them. I think I talked to Wick a little bit. It's Treasure Hunt Travelers, a husband and a wife group. I really like their podcast. It's one of those podcasts that you can just listen to, and if you want to hear treasure talk, they have some pretty good ideas. And recently they had a really good idea that I never even thought about. So I won't give that away. Go check them out. But they're really good. They're going to be coming on the show at some point in the future. So that would be cool. And we got Real Treasure Adventures. Catherine Dudley Blair, she had a new video out today. And she's been doing some cool boots on the ground. She is actually a professor at a university and teaches video editing and stuff like that. So really cool. Yeah. And of course, we had with the Finding Treasure Inside with Heather. She stepped in last week, and she's always a favorite. Got really good videos and stuff like that. And Matthew Hobbies had an awesome video not too long ago with Blake from TTI Unofficial. So that was always fun. So well, how was that like?
It was great. It was like meeting a hero, No.
Right. So
I feel like I've asked him to come onto the show more than I've asked like JCB, which granted was only one time with JCB. But it was like right on persistence or whatever.
Hey, persistence works, right? That's cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. They're fun. They're fun to do the sit down talk ones.
Yeah.
Especially when your idols on the other side.
Yeah. And they've done it. I feel like, I've done a lot of like being a guest. I think that was my second one of like hosting, if you will, in that different format. So I'm so used to like, oh, I made a mistake. I'm just gonna, I have my own cues. I'm gonna edit it out. It's gonna be great. So the doing things like that is much different. It's a different format, but very fun. So
yeah, and you had Dr. Squared on too. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah, both great people. I'm hoping at some point I'll be able to meet them in real life, which TreasureCon.
Yeah. Are you going to TreasureCon?
I have a ticket to go. I have a hotel room. I think I still need to buy a plane ticket, but
sure.
At this point, it's very likely I will be. So
cool.
Yeah. That's cool. I was talking to Ohio Jones and Dr. R Squared because they just went boots on the ground for Appalachian Football Box. And it looks like one of these weekends coming up, we're going to do video and we're going to talk about it.
Oh, sweet. So
that'll be good. Compare notes because they, I know Ohio Jones was deep into Vermont, the Rock Pond area. Yep. And Rashawn was back and forth. He went to both. William has been going to a lot of places lately. He went to New York, which I think is great because he's covering a lot of ground, helping the community out with Appalachian Football Box. And Ohio Jones, he saw a bear as well. And I don't know if you saw my last video. I saw a bear.
Yeah,
one of my trails.
Yeah.
So,
which is wild. I've heard the stories. I know people who have seen them, but like, I guess my only experience was like in a car, like, oh, there's one. Huh. Yeah. And feeling safe. I'm sure so much different on the trail. Like, I think, what was it, like within 30 meters or whatever that you said?
It was like, here's the funny thing about it. Like, Laura and I were driving to the trailhead, which was like a mile away. And we're like, that would be great if we saw a moose and a bear. Because when we flew into Maine, we saw a moose and a bear stuffed in the lobby. So we took a selfie with it, right? It's like, this is safe. And we're like, wouldn't it be cool if we saw one in real life? And we're like, yeah, we probably won't, but whatever. And we have bear spray and stuff just in case. But then we're walking down the trail, and she saw it first, and she says, "I think I saw a bear." I said, maybe not.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, are you sure? And I didn't want to discount her, right? Because she's 99.999% right all the time. and then, sure enough, I see this bear like 3 or 4 times the size of me, this chugging along, and he looked really close. And I'll tell you, it is a heck of a lot scarier. Like, I almost froze, and I never thought I would respond that way. And bear spray up, safety off. Everybody pulls my hands, clicking them together. Had bear spray through my finger, thumb lightly on the trigger, pointed away, and Laura started singing her bear song. And fortunately enough, it just kept walking, and it was exciting. Like, we talked about that for the next 20 minutes. And
She's saying Winnie the Pooh.
I was like,
The bear
I'm
song.
like, oh, are there the cubs there? I want to just pet the cubs. It's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah. That's wild. It's one of those, like, you somewhat prepare like bear spray, things like that. But I mean, maybe you did practice like getting the bear spray out, taking the safety off, all that, like, in case. But like, I have purchased bear spray. There's directions on it that I could read, and I'm sure I'd figure out in the not heat of the moment. But like, yeah, that's just wild to actually be in that situation. And thankfully, didn't need to use it. But
yeah, I mean, that's who can run faster than here, Laura? That's the important question, not who can go faster than the bear. Yeah, actually, I could probably get her off the line, but she'll got the endurance. Like, if it's a sprint for like 10 feet, I'll win. If it's like 100 yards, she's got me. But it's funny because it is important knowing how to use bear spray, because I mean, I've shot pistols, I've handled guns a lot, so I know the importance. I'm a safety guy. That's my profession, and I know the importance of gun safety. Like, I've instilled it in my children. If they ever bought a gun, I was like, look, it's like having the talk with your kids, right? But I had to talk, because that's all you hear about is people like doing stupid things with guns, right? And I'll go off on a tangent. Anyway, bear spray, treat it the same. Treat it like a gun. If you're not gonna shoot it at anything, don't point it at whatever you're not gonna shoot. Keep safety on till you're ready to use it. And just be as careful as you can with that, because it's no joke. I mean, not only is it going to ruin your day. If ask Kobe, he sprayed it in his camper, and I think Megan sprayed it accidentally in her car too.
Famous Cynthia spraying.
Yeah, Cynthia, of course. Who's going to forget that? And I'm not even gonna. This is a PG show tonight. I'm not going to talk about that.
I didn't say where. It said you sprayed yourself.
Yeah. At least you would not want to get sprayed. So, they make inert spray as well. I'd say, great, use it, practice it all the time, because you do not want that stuff sprayed on you. And it's not just for bears either. It's for moose. It's for anything. It's just called bear spray because that's primarily what it was originally used for. Or you can carry a little thing of mace on you too. If that was stuff like that, same thing. But anywho, so what are you working on lately, Matthew?
I mean, line share here.
That's right.
I feel like at this.
Is that like your primarily thing you're working on, or just for the videos?
I mean, both, unless you're talking about like life. I have a lot of other things outside of treasure for life, but
Sure.
treasure.
Well, there is only thing treasure.
Sorry, yeah.
Come on.
I was just lying right there. Yeah, no, it's full-time job. No, no, line share. I mean, I feel like I watch a lot of videos, and then I feel like it inspires me. Like, oh, I need to look back at this. So, I mean, currently it is kind of wrapping up. On my like chapter analysis, I have 2 more chapters, and I'm excited to kind of complete that because I personally really like doing, I guess, different things. Like a lot of people have done chapter analysis, and then there's like ideas that I'm really wanting to kind of cover for like more fully, like the quotes, looking at that further, some different like tie-ins throughout the whole chapter in the book. So I'm, kind of finishing those and then have a few ideas in the pipeline there. Appalachian Trail, I think I kind of was like, I kind of want to look at that again, which I know you guys
Yeah,
I've had some experiences there. I mean, I think it was with Dr. R. Skierweird when I kind of talked about the idea, but I went to an escape room and in it there was this like quadrant thing where like the alphabet, it was like an 8x8. So like A, B, C, D, E, F down to whatever the 16th letter is. I don't remember offhand, but it was like, I wonder if there's something with that. And I feel like a lot of the different icons, I feel like you can put into an A, B, C, D, E, or F. And anyway, I had a long tangent, but it was like, if you put all like the apples and what was it, alpine skier and things like that, you can actually take this, what is it, the second letter of those and make it say like Little Rock Pond, like Alpine A L, and then it was like that. And then with the B's, I actually got it to be like Appalachian Trail, and I don't know. There's a few different things that I kind of want to explore with that, of what I would say is like more maybe a new idea, probably a new idea because it's a little weird and out there. But I feel like those are the topics that are kind of interesting. Like, oh, I've never thought about that before, and maybe I shouldn't think about that. Let me watch this video to to decide that. But I don't know. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of those, but I think lion's share, because I still feel like that could be the closest box to me in the Midwest, is the one that I'm primarily focusing on. Which, who knows? There's a lot of areas it could be. Yeah, or past and future. If it's Ohio, that's like so
right. Well, I had something and we don't have to make this all about the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah, no.
But let's go where it flows. I'm gonna pose this question to you and Wick. So I get back from my trip and I haven't deserted my idea. I still like New Hampshire. I'm digging in deeper in there, but I'm not allowing that to distract me from if anything else pops up, right? So I just need to refine what I have, because what I had, some of it probably still is relevant, but some of the bigger ones that I thought would get me to a closer place are no longer relevant. So I still think I'm within it's still a big area, and it would still take me a lifetime to canvas if I just went out there blind, which is why I need to hone in things. So anyway, I looked at the, and this is just a harebrained idea. This probably means nothing, but the tree with the circle, whatever, and it says look around, right, around it. So if you said look around a tree, because the tree is in the circle, could you take the first letter and it'd be LAT, like latitude, like we're looking for latitude somewhere around there. So Matthew, I'll pose that one to you first.
I mean, I like that based off of what I was just discussing, of like maybe there's some wordplay, or like you should know this icon and the letters and then go from there. I was gonna say, I feel like the tree in there is just like the Pokemon box, where all of these treasure boxes are going to be 7 feet up in a tree, so you got to look around the tree and find it. But
sure,
that is interesting. Even the, like, what is it, the Car North, I was thinking about, and I mean, it was one of the ideas that I was like, what if the letters, you're supposed to kind of do a basic switch to numbers? So like Car North, like car would be 3, and then the A would be 1, like that sort of thing. And then with the feet, it could end up being like, oh, a certain number, I forget what it ends up being, but like that many feet north kind of thing. Like I feel like there's a lot of things in there. We don't the TTI, it's interesting where we don't have a lot of set rules to it outside of like all you need is a map, but like there's so many variabilities with it. And if there's 3 ways to get to that same spot, there's so many endless possibilities. And I mean, it's kind of an out there theory, but I feel like one of those 3 have to be some sort of number thing, like coordinates or something. That's mostly because the treasure box description it's a puzzle box and combination lock. So I think the combination lock means, and I mean, they can be letters too, but like some sort of shifting like numbers or something like that, which again is kind of an out there theory, which I always like those, whether or not they're true or not. But 5 steps, 5 clues, those match up with the treasure box and the, kind of a big clue that's pretty well known. Joy Serenade has 7 stanzas or whatever, and 7 steps to open the treasure box. So all of that is enough, at least for me, until a box is found and we know what the solutions are, to be like, maybe that's the thing. Once when a few of them are found, we know that's a big indicator of how you solve them, which out there. But back to your question, I like that. I have not thought about that before with latitude, but I feel like there has to be some sort of precise thing like that, like latitude, longitude, coordinates, something like that. So I'm gonna have
now,
to.
When now I'm play devil's advocate here, and I will get you, Rick, but since I have a tendency of forgetting things, right? I have a tendency to forget, so I have to bring this up now since you said it.
Yeah.
And Heather and I just talked about this last week. Latitude. Because I had posed a question to her and said, do you think, or something to the effect that there's the answer to where it's at is just a longitude latitude line because that's the exact location. Now, depending on how far you take that latitude longitude line out in decimal spot, it would have to go out more than 4 digits to get close. Like I was just going on
GPS. Right?
I mean, I was just going and looking for a specific number.
In a second,
right?
yeah.
And I went like to the 4th digit, and then I was trying to get to the exact like 5th and 6th digit to like zero it out, and I was like a long distance away, and I forgot the exact distance. So even if what when he said there's 3 ways and one of them is the exact way, how exact do you think he's saying? Because I'm having a hard time reconciling finding in what I think is an exact is an area to go boots on the ground or to grid search out. Finding that without a number, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you point to? Because this is where boots on the ground, right? Is what am I looking for? Where is this? If you know, like I said before, and what does that look like? Is it a number to the 5th, 6th decimal? Both, because you're going to have now the numbers on the left hand side decimals. 2, even if you had 4, 6, and 7, 8, up to 8 digits, 16 digits total to get you to that exact area. So think about that, and wait, you can respond to the other question.
Yeah,
the first
sure.
question.
I guess both. Yeah, I mean, I've always been kind of thrown off by the look around the magnifying glass with the tree, because if we're taking the map for what it is, that's really close to the starting point of the map. So why are we looking around something at the close proximity to where we're starting that doesn't seem anywhere near the end of the map or the end of the trail that he has or the end of the dashes? It seems like it's very early in the process. So what could he possibly wanting us to see? So I like your creativity there, Eric, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't necessarily agree or think that latitude, longitude, or coordinates are in play that often, if at all, for any of the hunts, to be honest with you. But I like the creativity of thinking like outside the box to try to see if there's some wordplay involved or some hidden meaning around it, because otherwise it doesn't make sense to me. Like, again, like what are we looking for when that close to where we start? What could possibly be relevant there to help us find the box at the end, which seems miles away from the X and the 1727 to me.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, and if you go on a number, if you're using the number theory, right? I can see extra numbers realistically popping up. Like maybe that's the Little Rock Pond. It's got 56 dashes, not including the faded ones, right?
Yeah.
So you can use that as orient the map. I can see that's very reasonable to think.
It's the most logical thing I can think. Yeah.
Right. And then you have the begin here or 1938 if you go upside down, right? So
Yeah.
you have the 1938, then you have the 56 dashes that you're double using it for. You have the 1727, right?
Yeah.
And the 100K look around, right? That's what I used for my 19-mile trail that I looked on, which I thought was brilliant at the time because it was already out there.
Mhm.
And I was like, whoa, this will fit perfect.
Yeah.
Did math real quick. I'm like, hey, this could be relevant. That's where we saw it there too, by the way.
Yeah.
But that was like, to me, that, and I won't go tangent on this, but to me, that was like the ideal place, ideal like trail conditions to hide like treasure. It wasn't hard. There was a lot of areas where you could walk off the trail for a relative long distance and still hide it without bushwhacking or doing anything. And it wasn't on the Appalachian Trail, it was off of it. It was like, you had to walk from Trailhead to Appalachian Trail was 2 point something miles. So it could have been in right where it forked off to Carter Notch Trail. There's 2 Carter Notch trails that went up the Appalachian Trail. And one of them was Carter Notch Hut right up there. And we didn't go that far because like, it's get a little rowdy up here anyway. But
Yeah.
so that's why that one fit really well. And I'm not discounting that, but I would be, irresponsible to just dig into that with nothing else that points me there. And that's where I just trace the line on CalTopo to find my coordinates and write down any possible number coordination I could tie to it. But again, like Wick said, it's, and then I think this is what Heather and I talked about was that if there was an exact coordinate, and if somebody were to find that right away, would that just undermine the would that make it too easy? Like if you were able to find that number.
Yeah. That's the next thing I was going to say. To me, JCB's hunts seem heavily gamified or games involved.
Yeah.
What's the game in finding a coordinate and just going right to the spot? There's no game. There's no way to figure that out in a gamified manner. And plus, I think when people start looking at coordinates, and again, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. Just my opinion. Confirmation bias can really creep into coordinates, in my opinion, because like you said, Eric, there's a lot of different numbers, right? There's this number, there's that number, there's this number. You put them together in a way that makes sense to you, but then say Matt has the same coordinates and he says, well, no, it's not 110, it's 142 or whatever, So he could put it in the same manner. That could be confirmation. And the same thing for me. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to determine unless there's some logical way when you're looking through the map or the clues, or if they're in some kind of consecutive order. Like, how do you know which numbers to put in what order in the first place?
I mean, I could see using the first 2 numbers or 3, right? Depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
Because that is a huge area. Like if you want to narrow it down to a general region, right? You're like Rashawn was saying, 44 and 71, between 71 and 72. Well, I line those out on the map, and that's huge. Like that's a whole White Mountain National Forest, and I was just up there. It's a huge place.
Yeah.
It's a huge place. A lot of trees, a lot of rocks, and a lot of bears. Right? And it would literally, if I only went on that, it would take me forever. Like I would be, dead before I found it.
Yeah.
By old age, not just by bears. So,
It would be interesting, like an interesting exercise to go from, like you were saying, 2 digits. How big of a area would it be? Just like, 42 by whatever, and that's all. And then like 42.1, like how much smaller for per digit? Because to that point, like you couldn't get an exact. And I think it comes, honestly, the like 3 ways to solve, I think adds a different element of difficulty to this, because now you think you have something, and then, well, actually, no, you're just adding these extra things from a different puzzle. And now there's that like extra question, is this actually supposed to be part of this? It's like, I guess even in the example of like, if you say, I mean, the Little Rock Pond Trail it's really hard to like say it's a different trail than that. There's a lot of great ideas of it's not actually on that trail per se, but if you take that for an example, like even is that all it is? Just the trail? Is that just one of the solves? Or is there some icons like the start here and then you're supposed to continue on or something like that?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And then if you're focusing on that, making numbers fit that is a lot easier than just letting the clues lead you or guide you, as I think JCB somewhere abridged way said that. And it's interesting too. I mean, as I'm kind of looking into it more, I mean, it's hard because it's like that feels like they're somehow in the puzzle. Little Rock Pond has something to do with it, whether it's a starting point, whether it's oh, here's something that matches up, but you're supposed to go 10,000 kilometers or 10,000 feet somewhere else, or 100K. I forget the look. It's like, what are you supposed to do with that? And it could also just genuinely be a wrong thing. It's hard when JCB made it seem like he was surprised that it hasn't been found yet, because it makes it feel like it's close, but there's so many great ideas outside of that. Like, I don't know, clue.
That's why we can't discount the trail, right? And that's why, I mean, Ohio Jones and I did a countless number of videos on whether or not, or how it's used in the solve. And we went back and forth with it a lot because you can't discount it, and part of me still wants to go like, I want to check it out just to say it did. But then like now, I need to really focus my energy on where I think it's at instead of just going somewhere, especially with everything going on with, that's on the house, blah, blah, all that stuff.
Yeah. So,
but but even if you got, that's why I don't think it's as simple as saying, okay, I mean, like say you're at the camp of Little Rock Pond, and okay, it's Little Rock Pond, and then you begin with the tree, and then you go up to 1727 feet, boom, Bob's your uncle, you got it, take it home. I don't think it would be that easy. And even if it were that easy, when you get on the trail, it's a whole different story. And that's why I will still I'll still stand behind it. The whole, somebody searcher's been within 200 feet doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah. Who knows how many thousands of emails he's gotten.
It doesn't mean anything to me, because if somebody said, Eric, if somebody told me specifically and I knew I was within 200 feet of my whole journey's looking for it, it could have been North Carolina, it could have been Pennsylvania at 3 different spots, Pennsylvania, and it could have been on some of the trails we went in New Hampshire. That doesn't help me. If anything, that would put me into an insane asylum, at least for a month.
Yeah.
Until they talked me down and got my head just put away. We got 3D bronze squawking in here. Focus on where you think it's at, not where it's actually at. I ain't gonna go in there.
Yeah.
But before you go on, I just noticed you got the coolest hat in the room here, Matt.
I was gonna say, how long is it gonna take?
I know. I was looking at it. I was like, I was just gonna interrupt him. I was just gonna stop what he's saying and say, you got the best hat in the world. That is awesome. That is really cool. And we are working on some really cool merch for TreasureCon, because we're planning on doing a merch table, and I did order some stickers the other day. They should be in soon, but that's just to see how the print looks and stuff. But we do giveaways of those stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be cool. But I like the hat. It's great.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I bought it myself.
It's awesome. So anyway, what were we saying? See, I get sidetracked and I forget what we're saying here.
Oh, no worries. I am curious, like hypothetically, because I feel like you, and correct me if I'm wrong, you both are kind of not in the Little Rock Pond camp, but say, I mean, I assume you think the trail is a connection, or even if you don't, let's say it is a connection. If there are 3 ones, do you think it's on the most generic, like least amount of, I mean, like if that's a trail connection and all a solo clue, do you think it would be one of the furthest away of like least amount of details, or most, or second, or what's kind of
That's a
your
good
thoughts
question.
on that?
That's a
Like,
good question.
how specific do you think the clues should get you in, at least on this box? And I know he's kind of said different ones vary, but
Are you
Yeah.
asking specifically for Little Rock Pond, like using that trail system, or just
like
in
that
general?
trail system, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, it's hard if you're like, I don't think it's on that trail system, so it doesn't pertain. But like, I guess in the scheme of if you solve something, do you
Yeah.
think that's a reasonable amount, or is that pretty broad, if you will?
Well, the way I looked at it, and I thought about this a lot, right? And the way I look at it is there's different types of clues on there. And obviously that one is the largest geographic one, right? The one that takes up most real estate on the map. I think the biggest one that's there is not going to be the most significant clue.
Mm.
That's just my way of thinking on it. I could be wrong. I know 3D Bronze will just chime in, and because he's going off the whole thing on the trail like everybody else. But yeah, I got to get my my digs in on him.
That makes sense.
But I think that one is part of.
Do share 3D Bronze. What are these?
Yeah, well, and when you have the box 3D, then talk to me. I'm not talking about the ones that you make, right?
He's got the box. He made it yesterday.
Sure. Because it's the only way he's going to get one with that logic thinking. But I think Little Rock Pond is used in a combination of other clues, but it's part of a component of a much larger solve. And for whatever reason it's used for, whether it either be orient the map, the number of dash lines, I don't know, but I don't think it's an indicator of where you're going off the trail to go find the box. I just don't. And I could be wrong, and don't listen to me if you are dead set on going there. I don't want to ruin it. You could be right. Anybody could be right at this point. But that's my opinion on it. I think so I think getting to a general area probably has more clues, more big obvious clues, right? And then as it progresses to get closer, I think you're going, and I do think some clues could be used twice for different reasons. Which that's why it's so confusing when, like now if I ever show somebody the map that's not into treasure hunting, like now I have to preface it with this, like, look, this is what we do know from John Collins Black. Like if you're gonna look at this map and he says, all you need is a map, so I can just show you the map to give me your opinion on it. I'm gonna then have to preface it by saying, look, there's 3 different ways of solving this. You don't have to use everything, right, on it. It could mean multiple things for different things. In a way, it's good he told us, so we're not trying to plug and chug all this stuff. But another way, it's like, now, which ones work where?
Yeah.
It's like a puzzle, right? It's like,
Mhm.
you don't need all the pieces of the puzzle. There's 3 different ways of building this puzzle, and you may not use all these pieces.
Yeah.
Even that one. Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think Little Rock Pond is relevant for something you said as well, Eric, with orienting the map. And I do think someone said it in the chat earlier. I think it's Jake something that I think it just simply takes you to Vermont. And then we follow some other clues to go into another area in Vermont away from Little Rock Pond. But I mean, to your question, Matt, if you found something unique for Little Rock Pond that you haven't really seen elsewhere, I would say, hell yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
See where it takes you and see if it makes logical sense that maybe you're in a part of Little Rock Pond that you really haven't seen other people go. Because that's kind of what it is, right? At this point, people have been all over Little Rock Pond for, a year and a half. Trampled it pretty well, and it's been well documented. So if you've got something unique, book that flight and go, in my opinion.
Yes. Sorry, I was looking at 3D. It sounds like 3D Bronze is for Little Rock Pond.
He is. From this point on, though, Matt, he likes when you call it LRP.
LRP. I'm sorry.
He prefers you call it LRP.
Well,
I was
I
gonna
mean,
say-
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like based off of what I've seen on streams, I'm supposed to disagree with him and like make fun of him. But in this point, though, I mean, from the trail map, I'm it's hard to disprove that, at least in my mind. I think we're pretty, as a searcher, or like I've done geocaching, I've done things like that. I know, at least from disc golf, even like 200 or less than 200 feet, I suck at finding things, especially things I don't even know what I'm trying to find. So
Find a disc, yeah.
no, literally, like
Yeah.
rest in peace, all the discs I've lost.
This I
but-
have to interrupt you because this is my son.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch the last name. I was commenting.
Yes.
That was me commenting there.
This is great. My son's watching the show, which makes my day. Because
Nice.
kids, I don't think if they do their lurkers, they're secretly trying to find it because we bought them all books for Christmas. And even told them we'd give them like $1,000 towards their boots on the ground trip if they prepared their solve to us, right? And they haven't took it up. So, what is my son? Do you also believe that wisdom required for finding this treasure requires a much larger field? More grain might also help. Please advise.
I think wisdom is beyond the map's edge. Wrong hunt.
Well, I was making a comment. I was just going to like a playoff beard. I was going to grow it into one of the boxes are found.
Oh,
Jeez.
But then it would be because if we're all relying on 3D bronze to find it, then my beard would be down to my feet, and 'cause that's not going to happen.
there's the bigs I'm looking for.
So we do have some questions.
We do. They're starting to pile up for sure.
Let's start. I'll start from the top here. So we have Kobe. If you could spend one day searching alongside any treasure creator, past or present, who would it be? Let's start with Wick, since I always skip it.
I mean, Justin would be cool. I guess he counts, right? But aside from that, Cynthia, I mean, it's kind of cliche to name the people in here, but I'd go treasure hunting with you, one of these dudes on the stream as well. But Cynthia would be high on the list. She just seems hysterical and such a fun person to be around, and so experienced too, right? So I'm probably the top of my list.
How about you, Matt?
Yeah, treasure. Well, creator or like content, right? Content creator.
Or any treasure creator. So I'm assuming a treasure hunt creator, but
That's
I
what
guess
I'm
it's
thinking as well.
Yeah. Oh man, that is a tough one. I feel like Byron Press, I believe is his name. I should know it. But from The Secret, I spent a little bit of time on The Secret, and then I mean, he's passed away already, so I guess that I don't know if it counts if someone's non-living.
Yeah,
but,
past or present.
okay, pass. Yeah, I should read the prompt. But
That's
he
all
seemed
right.
like an interesting dude. Like years ago, before any of this stuff, like he seemed like kind of a pioneer, if you will, on this genre, which it was just fascinating to see. So it would be cool to be able to pick his brain. But
Well, I would say 3D bronze, but he's not officially one yet because this isn't coming out yet.
Maybe to turn.
Ding, ding. But you know what? You guys are missing it. I would pick JCB, and I would be like, come look for one of your boxes with me.
Yeah.
That's what I'd pick.
So where did you look for fins again, JCB? Let's go look.
yeah,
That's right. That's right. So we got a now I got rid of it.
What's up?
All right. So now we got next one. Another Kobe one here. Looking back there, what clue from your theory gained the most confidence after visiting New Hampshire, and which clue lost the most confidence? Oh, that's a good question. Well, I could easily start by the second part of it.
How much time
which
we get?
lost my. What's that?
How much time do we have here? No, I'm just kidding.
Right? Yeah, I promise I won't. Which lost most confidence? Because I actually scratched off a couple of places I was going to go when I'm out there because of the topography out there. There was a lot of, I mean, I wanted to go to Mount Webster. That was one of my strongest ones there because I had the numbers. 1938 was like literally right on that spot, 44 and 1938 and everything. That was, and so I didn't even go to it because it just was way, it wouldn't be a place where you would put a treasure box, in my opinion. So that was the one that I lost most confidence in. And there was, I think it was another one as well, but didn't have a lot of weight to it. But they gained the most confidence. I did like the 19 mile, the 100K. I know but it's only one component. So, but I do like that component of it. If I can find more things that point to that trail, then I'm onto something. Then I'll have a breakthrough moment. Or the Lowe's bald spot with the bald head, because I really like that, and the area was equally as nice as the 19-mile one. So those are two of the clues that I'm keeping on my Post-it notes, and if I could find something that else that ties to that, that would definitely be one. So so why is the Appalachian Footpath map using 2 scales to display on trails? 2 scales.
I do not understand the question, to be honest with you.
Don't understand questions. Wait, look into the chats for that, because I'm looking on the starred ones right now, so I can't see the other ones going. So we'll get back to that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got Cape Rose. So are you using the coin in your solve? I'll start just because there's a couple ways you can use a coin. I'm from the camp that says, if you use a coin, don't manipulate it. I'm thinking, because if not, then it's just going to confuse me more, and I'm going to be, spinning my wheels. So if you take the coin as it is, size and orientation, you can line up Little Rock Pond to line up correctly on the map, right? So that's the one I use it for. And again, it's not a big, maybe a big thing. You can do that anyway without it. But when, I also think about when he says, well, he needs a map, well, he didn't say a coin as well. So is it that big of a clue that we need to focus a lot of energy on, or can we still solve it without it? And I'm a firm believer so far. I mean, it'd be great to know what each one does, because that would be an extra tool in our toolbox to figure out things. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a clue as it's going to be a game changer. I mean, I could be wrong. It could, right? Or if you're to a spot where you just need one more thing to confirm it, that could be the thing. But that's what I use it for. Matthew, how about you?
I mean, I had to just look at like what shape is that coin, which is a quick no. I haven't been using it in my solves. I mean, it's a weird one too. Like all you need is the map. So then, does that mean you don't need the coin? I have been running on the coins are going to help with finding the lion's share when it's solved and somehow, but I guess when we see one being solved, we can see, is that part of the solve within it? But to me, with how he's kind of said, like, all you need is these, the games for the past and future, or the map, or like, the story, those things, I generally don't use it. But I don't know. It is interesting. Because the Lake Tahoe one, like that is, I think, the coin and like an argument for using them for a solve that I've seen that's the strongest, at least from what I've seen, which again, I know there's some great ones to how to line up north, like you were saying with the Appalachian Trail one. But for me, I feel like I'm like, well, if it's used, it's probably like a confirmer or helper versus critical, at least in my mind, which could be wrong. And maybe that's why I'm not finding it in the boxes.
Well, hey, it took me a long time to even find out that it was even used for
Yeah.
thanks to Calazar's Q&A, when even though he never came out and confirmed it, it was close enough of a confirmation for me.
Yep.
So how about you, Wick? What do you?
I actually fully agree with what Matt just said in all aspects. So I don't have anything to add to that. I agree.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Then we have another one from Todd. So did JCB say there were 3 different ways to solve a box? How likely is it to get the 3 mixed together to really get confused? Appalachian Footpath. He said there's 3 different ways to solve the box. That means if you took 3 different ways with the map, then you would you would get to the box. One was pretty exact. One would be in a general location, but it's doable. And the other was, well, I forgot what he said, somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how likely is to get three mixed together to get really confused? I'm assuming that's to the same box. Very confusing, very easily.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
which ones? And again, that's to me, that's why, I wish in a one sense, I wish he didn't say that. But in another sense, I'm glad he did. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm basing it that like Little Rock Pond seems like the at least the most likely at this point. Again, open to other places, but assuming it's there and in that
Mhm.
trail, I feel like that's not enough. Like I could never see that being the most like exact location, if you will. That seems like a huge area to be exact. Which again could be off.
Mhm.
That said, I think there's a lot of I don't know interpretation with it too. And I mean, to me, it's nice to know like, oh, maybe this doesn't matter for my one solve of the three, so I'll just like put it to the side for now. But at the same time, that's really challenging because like, is the dotted lines, is that it? It's Little Rock Pond, that's one of the solves, or is there a little bit more that we should be using? And there's always that question in the back of at least my mind, like, should I be doing more with that? Is this in tangent with something else, or should I be looking at something? So it was a weird way to kind of like, I don't need any explanation to this because this is a solve I haven't thought about, and that's fine. Versus, I
Yeah.
feel like other boxes, it's like I would go to, I don't have a great explanation for this part of the clue or a solve, so I'm going to dive into that further. But in this one, it gives us like this opening of maybe you don't need everything to kind of get there. You just might have a little more boots on the ground work to do. So
Okay.
I don't know.
How about you, Rick?
Full disclosure, I distracted myself with the chat, and can you read?
Oh, Rick wasn't paying attention.
I was.
Does
Just
it
doing
confuse
it.
you more that there's three different ways?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how. It could.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I don't know how it couldn't. But I think, like, I believe he said to something similar to you said, Eric. Like, one is a general area, if you will, from Justin's hunt. One kind of narrows it down to, let's say, like a 3 mile range, and then another one narrows it down to, a couple hundred feet. I think it's something like that. And I think that once you kind of, and this is a generic answer, like once you kind of get on the right path of one of them, I think it'll reveal how you're supposed to continue and get closer and closer and closer. So, but I mean, for now, and possibly in hindsight, it's very confusing to have
So
multiple
you're
ways.
saying once you get to an area on boots on the ground that you would know?
Either that, or just when you're aligned with the clues that JCB lays out, and you're seeing him how he intends you to see him. Yeah, I think.
So do you think you can sort of armchair your way to an area where you get on there and you'll have the if you know moment on that?
I don't believe in if you know, so I'll never agree to that. But I think that's just what's confirmation bias, if you ask me. For a
Well,
lot
no,
of
when you're there, no, I guess maybe I didn't ask this right.
that's a
When
trigger.
you, like
Yeah,
when you know to get off the trail and start looking, because this is what I was going to ask Matt next. So
Right.
you start thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me and the Appalachian Trail, since we're focused on that, it looks very obvious to me that there's separate dashes or separate trail. So if you're in the right area and you kind of line things up and you're getting out there, the boots in the ground, and then you kind of see some other trail or notable game trail or something very unique that's not necessarily on the map, but you can see it clear as day in front of you. I think that might be the clue you're looking for or what you're looking for. But there's a lot in the top right corner of the Appalachian Trail map. There's a
There's
bit
a lot everywhere on
tree,
that map.
there's the rocks, there's the bear, the 1727. So there's a lot. But you have to think to yourself, maybe kind of to Matt's point, maybe you don't use all of those images in the top right for each. Maybe they're designated for different solutions, right? Maybe one is one way, another set of pictures is a second way to solve it, etc.
Yeah. So Matt, remind me, and maybe you told me this before, but my old age, my brain's going. You've been boots on the ground, right? Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah.
Oh, uh-oh.
Depends. Yeah, I mean, I can the abridged way was I have had 2 trips to a lion share location.
Okay.
I would call it I wouldn't call it a full solve because I wasn't like an exact like this is where I'm going to go. It's more like I guess recon maybe as some would say. The first time I was unable to go because there was flooding and literally no way to get there. Second time I had the trip. We went to the hotel. We're in the area. It was beautiful. And I guess I should have gone to a doctor, but like I would self-diagnose that I had like a lower respiratory issue. Like I could not breathe and like I guess fully inflate, I don't know, my lungs or whatever. That's a very bad one. So it's just like it hurt to sleep. So I was like, I probably shouldn't do this like 1,800,000 feet hike or whatever up into the stuff and in the middle of nowhere. And then be like, oh, this hurts and I can't move. So I went a mile in. It was like a 3.45 mile to like the full trail.
Yeah.
So I got part of it. So I guess to your point, like, I mean, I personally going there did not say like, oh, this is totally it. I know, like, here's the bear, here's this. I mean, it was lion share, so it's not as much like those clear things.
But it helped you, right?
It did help. Yeah, it was. I mean, it checked the box of like, oh, this is a beautiful area. Check. What was it? There was a picnic table at the start. Like you'd park, and then there's like a picnic table, and I didn't realize with all my like, I watched YouTube videos and all that stuff, and I didn't realize it was like, yes, a picnic table. Check. But, I mentioned too, like my boots on the ground bag had bear spray. I mean, snacks, water, all that stuff, and then a black light. So I used a black light on everything, just on the off chance, and like a red light. And there was nothing there that said like JCB, you're in the right spot.
That would be cool.
If there was, then I'd be like, done. This is it.
Yeah.
But no, I guess back to it. It's like I didn't discontinue it. There wasn't a like, this is clearly wrong in these ways. I guess for me in this specific one it was a pretty linear journey, at least on this trail. It was like, you know, the main trail was like a 3.5 to the location and then come back, at least the trail, not necessarily the treasure location. And then there was like a side trail that was like 14 plus miles, like 3 miles within. So it's kind of like that was the interesting area that would be within 3 miles of a road or whatever. But to me, I feel like it's more likely it's kind of a scattered trails. Like there's a lot of trails around because I feel like that gives more offshoots. But even still, it's an interesting question. Like when should you go off of a trail to start looking for this? Because like, I mean, to me, even in this like kind of recon, I'm like, unless I see like a shimmering circle of gold, like a, you know, some sort of marking or, you know, using my black light and on the trees and finding something, or like one of my interesting ideas was like those mushroom circles. It would be interesting because it was like an X or golden circles. I was like, maybe he planted mushrooms, which definitely didn't, but you know, the random
mushroom spores and he's just gotten out there.
Just like, or maybe these will happen to turn how I want them to. But it's interesting because like, at least in the first mile, there's no indication outside of like, oh, that's a cool rock. Maybe I should look behind the rock or like, there's that. But it's like, I mean, to me, there wasn't any of those sort of notions. And I guess this map has like, oh, if there's a bear, those like that line of rocks, you know, stuff like that. There's a little bit more icons in the Appalachian Trail. But to me, going on there and just in general, even like geocaching or any of that, it's interesting. Like when will you, or what are you looking for when you're boots on the ground? Like when is your indication? Because it's not just going to be like, oh, there's a treasure test. Cool. I win. Like you're going to have to find something, I think, and go, you know, even 100 feet is quite a bit off a trail. So like there has to be something, I assume, but
because that's the big thing for me. You know, it was funny. We're walking down this trail and it was heavily canopied by trees. so it was relatively dark, which is nice because it also blocked the sun from being too hot, right? So it was
Yeah.
perfect weather. But there was a break through the trees because there had been a storm that moved through recently. You could tell because the trees still looked pretty much green at the break mark. And it was just one area that like a light beam, like a spotlight was shining on. And it was a perfect opening.
Yep.
I'm like, oh man, there it is. There's my aha moment. And I swear I could hear a "Wah" in the background. It's going. I was like, yeah, we found it. But there was a question I had. We were talking about before on. You had asked me, Matt, on the size of Little Rock Pond being big. How much do you think it fits in there? And unlike our friend 3D Bronze, it just goes off that. That's it. And then because he's a seasoned treasure hunter, so whatever. And like Wick said, there's a lot of stuff on that map. How much value do you put in those crease marks on the map? Because I've started. I mean, there's you can see. I think our square talked about it, and there's you can see a 4 on there. And I recently saw under where the 4 and I don't have the picture with me, but the 4 and the feather right there, underneath on the a vertical line, sort of at an angle, right? There's a number 2, and I never caught that before. And you don't have to zoom in. Like I saw this on my book, right? 3D Bronze, I'm gonna jump on the live. Well, he doesn't even do that. He's probably too busy with his head treasure hunt trying to get
Shut up.
So these lines obviously, not obviously, they mean something, right? But how much value do you put on there towards finding your clue?
It's a great question. I mean, for mine, I initially thought a lot. And then what was it? Chapter 11's. I mean, I've been going through it. And I guess for this one, this was one of the first that I've tried to find the background. Thank you, Wick.
There you go.
I've been trying to find the background to this because so many of them are like Adobe stocks and stuff. Even the ship one, I was able to find the background of the ship, chapter 11, I believe. And because there's like that like really darkened like icon thing in the top left corner, and I was like, this has to be something. This is huge, and it was like, oh, it was just Adobe stock. So I feel like I'm questioning everything, but like to your point, there's so many spots that feel like there's something, especially by the compass, because there were 2 places with that compass, like the front cover, I believe, is different than the map. And I think some have said it's like what it says, like 71 or 76 feet, I think is what some people have said. Like that to me is like he has to have manipulated in some way, which then opens up the entire map. So, I mean, back to it. I question it.
When you bring up the compass, it does look like, and I talked about this with Rashawn, it looks like he overlaid another map over it. Because if you look around the compass, you see like green, and to me, looks like maybe United States or something like that. Before I forget, I'm just going to pull this question. How much does bear spray cost? That's a good question, and I tagged that for a reason because we went to REI and we were out there, and for 2 canisters bear spray, they came with holsters and everything. It was like $104, and because we couldn't bring ours because on the plane we can't bring them on there.
Yeah.
And I think it paid for itself because we saw a bear, right?
Yeah.
And so we ended up donating it to the Joe Dodge Lodge. That's where we stayed at the Pinkman Notch area, which shout out to them again, because I left my 1 terabyte hard drive there in the room, and I panicked. I had a feeling on my way back to the airport that I possibly left it there. And then I was like, I'll just check when I get to the airport. And I undid my whole suitcase and everything, and I couldn't find it. And I had all of my intros on it. I don't even have them on my laptop because I only have like half terabyte on my M1, and you can't put any other hard drives on it because the new M1s are now they're up to M5, whatever. So I had all that on there and a bunch of other videos that were too, like a lot of my libraries, my Final Cut libraries, because they tend to be pretty big files, like, 50 gigs and stuff like that, plus. And I called them, and finally I got a hold of them, and because everybody volunteers there, and they sent it back to me. So I ordered JCB book, there's Treasure Inside, and we're going to North Carolina. Actually, after work tomorrow, we're driving because we have to take Biscuit with. We're driving down there, stay until Friday, and looking at houses. When I get back, I'm gonna send it to them because they have a common area, like a library, and say add this to your library. I'll know it there, whatever. So anyway, that's my bear spray story, and I kept babbling on about it. So
I feel like Amazon $20 was mine. We'll see if it actually works.
20 to $50 in generally
Yeah,
speaking.
I was gonna say
yeah,
the cheap stuff.
yeah. I mean, we didn't. We were there, so we couldn't take it with. But
Yeah, that's fair.
unfortunately, it was for two of them was $100. But somebody is going to be able to use it out there.
Oh yeah,
Because the Appalachian Trail goes through the lodge's property, and it's a lot of through hikers go there and either stay, or just go there and get something to eat or whatever. It's really nice. It's a really nice lodge. It's been there for like 100 years, whatever. It's really nice. But anyway, we got some questions lined up here, so I'll get to these. I think they're all Kobe's, which are always good ones.
Good questions.
Yeah, they do. Do you think it's more important to have a brilliant theory or to have boots on the ground wig?
Why can't you have both? You have to have a theory to get boots on the ground, don't you?
That's a cop-out answer.
That's not. I mean, you have
If
to have
you were
a
to
theory
pick
to know where to
one,
go.
which one maybe is weighed more heavily, or are they equal weighted?
Equal weighted to me. I mean, you have to have a theory to know where to get boots on the ground. So I don't know how you could do one without the other, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. How about you, Matt?
I mean, I feel like 100 or 1,000 people can have the brilliant theory and only one person finding the treasure, So I feel like the boots on the ground part is the key in that way of actually finding it. But to it, I think you need to have that theory, like what Wick was saying, to even get to the right area. Because if you can have a good or even a great theory, be in the totally wrong area, and you can go there 1,000 times and you're not going to find it. So it's hard, but the boots on the ground, I think, is the key, like, part.
Yeah, I would rephrase the question and say, which one is easier to figure out the clue or to find it boots on the ground? I would say if there was something that was easy, and this by no means says one is easy and one is not easy. I'm saying the easier, it's like, what's easier, flying to the moon or walking on the moon? They both are.
Yeah.
Bad example. But anyway, I would say, obviously, to me, it would be easier to figure out the clues, to crack the code, but going to fetch it. And that's why, if people have been within 200 feet, there's obviously people that have figured it out, or they just got lottery lucky and picked the right spot. Because that could be too. The person or persons who've been the searchers who've been within 200 feet of the box could easily have been lucky.
Yeah.
And just pick the right one. We don't know. And they don't know.
But I will say, and we've said this several times, like boots on the ground is very critical in my opinion. It gives you a whole different perspective that you don't get otherwise, unless you're just watching a lot of good boots on the ground videos, perhaps. But going out to a place and being there in person really changes things for you as a searcher, in my opinion. So
yeah.
Even if it's just recon, go to a place that's mentioned. Why not go check it out?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I mentioned this before. I think I did my videos the way I did because, if you are thinking about, it doesn't replace going yourself at all.
Right.
But
Agreed.
if you were thinking about that place and you wanted to get a general idea of what it looks like if that's part of what's determining whether or not you're going to spend money, because not everybody has time or other resources to get there. So if you can at least get a lay of the land and see what it looks like. And, I only put 10, 20, 25-minute videos up. If anybody wants to see the full version, let me know. I will upload it either to the channel or a unlisted link and give it to you and let you see the full hour and a half. I just didn't think anybody would want to watch an hour and a half of my trail walking. But if you want the full trail, the full that we walk, let me know. Email me, and I will just go ahead and upload them. I'll take the sound off because you don't want to hear me just babbling on, because I wasn't babbling on about the trail. But I will put the trail. I'll go ahead and upload it and send you the link to it so you can see, because that's a good resource, right? I mean, it's all POV view. I had a chest camera on, and there was nothing I didn't put on that was like clue related. I just clipped it on the spots I thought were more relevant. But again, I had an hour and a half for the video. I did find out GoPro, when you're shooting 4K, or I'll shoot 5K, and use an external mic on it, a wireless mic, you only get like a couple hours of battery.
Mhm.
Now I had extra batteries with me, but batteries didn't last long, I think. Anyway, next question. What's one item that's always in your boots on the ground backpack that most people wouldn't expect? Ooh, Matt, what was yours be?
I mean, I feel like I kind of gave it with my lights, black light.
That's great. That's great.
But yeah, I'll leave it at that.
How about you?
Good question. I was trying to think back to our conversation. This was a while ago, Eric, when I was telling you what all I bring out, boots on the ground, and something kind of caught you off guard as to why I would bring it, or I thought that was unique, but I don't remember what that was. But I bring a lot of stuff. I bring bear spray. I bring a tent. I bring a seat to sit on, a compass, local maps in the area, like park maps or trail maps or something like that. I don't know if there's anything that people wouldn't necessarily expect. At least I'd hope not. I don't know. I mean, I do have like the little water purifier,
I
That's
that
like
Grail one that I gave away. I think that's wonderful to have. I keep. It was funny. We went to REI and we got a lot of those little like protein bars or whatever, but they were like $2 a piece. So we just we got a ton of them, right? This is great calories, when you're out there and it's real small, and beef jerky and all this stuff. And what I was thinking when I saw that bear, I'm like, I have like a pound of beef jerky in my backpack right now. I go, probably not the best thing to do. And I know they have bear containers, right, to put your food in, but I never even thought about that. But I have water backup, my water purifier just in case, food. Bear spray is not in my backpack; it's on my person. Right. And I do have maps, a compass, and I didn't have a knife with me because I was flying and I just didn't think of it. I do have a first aid kit in there. And that's really about it. Ooh, we got somebody in the house. He was upset. Well, we'll let him chime in on the next question here because we have one more, because he was kind enough. This is super fun and exciting. Can we continue live until midnight tonight?
I can't, but maybe others can.
It might go now. It might go now because look who's here. Look who decided to grace us with his present, Mr. LRP 3D. What's up?
It's 3D? Not LRP. I don't like calling it LRP, but anyway,
Eric
I guess that's the easy. That's the easy way to describe the area.
Just lied to me.
It's so. I mean, come on, guys. It's like he says it's obvious, and
Does
then
he
everybody. He says in the book, he literally says, "Should I have made the path to the treasure so obvious?" And then everybody finds the path and then says, "But that's too obvious."
But didn't he also say, I was going to answer this earlier, didn't he also say in the Treasure Con that you guys have seen one of the trail systems, but, quote, there are others? Why would he say that if Little Rock Pond was so relevant?
That's right.
What do you mean? So you'd have to read the actual quote, but I think the quote
It was from AT Podcast.
Yeah, the American Treasure podcast, the quote he says is basically, he says, he asks him about what is in fair game, basically. And he says, basically, is it like in fair game if it's a trail that comes off of the Appalachian Trail? And then John talks about, well, I'm not going to put it like along the like on the Appalachian Trail, obviously, because there's too many people. And then I'm paraphrasing, and then he says there's many trails that basically veer off of the Appalachian Trail that are along the Appalachian Trail. And in fact, one of them, a lot of people have found and paying attention to,
And then he
basically.
chuckled right after it.
Yeah.
But he also said there are others, at least if I remember it correctly. Maybe I don't, but that's the way I remember it.
Well, we'll let 3D.
I mean, there
answer
is
the question.
others. If you listen to like any time he's ever answered any questions, he always does this deal where he tries not to like confirm, even though a lot of things he's just straight up confirmed. He basically has said like, well, I can't confirm anything, so I can tell you what it isn't type of thing, and but I don't want to say this because it may confirm. But I mean, it's just, to me, it's like, I don't know. I think that there's lots of smart, very highly intelligent people working on this. And I think those type of people are really good at thinking it can't be that simple. And it like so often is in treasure hunts. I mean, I haven't done a million treasure hunts, but I've worked on enough treasure hunts with a lot of people that have worked on a lot of treasure hunts and that have won a lot of treasure hunts. And if you ask any of them, so often it comes down to like the most obvious solution. I mean, this is just life, right? This is like Occam's razor, right? It's like it's like the Forest Fen. I mean, people for 10 years had looked across the river right there. And so many people, even Jack said, I think that he, at one time, he thinks he might have stepped on it one of the first times he was searching. And it's just hard to find stuff. And really, like, if you've been to that Little Rock Pond area, like looking at it on Google Earth and on Google Maps or Apple Maps, whatever you choose to use, it seems like, oh, how could people not have found it if it's anywhere in that area? It is so massive. Like, when you actually go to one of these locations, you realize that like it could be 20 feet off the trail. Like it takes to walk to the pond at Little Rock Pond. I mean, it takes like, I want to say like 20 to 30 minutes, like, of walking on the trail. It's like, you just think about that for like 20 or 30 minutes, you're like walking on a very rocky trail, and anywhere along that trail, like 100, 200, 300 feet out, the box could just be sitting there. And it's really hard to find something in the woods. And it's really a huge, massive area. Like, if you go on All Trails, which is something I put on the comments earlier, if you go on All Trails and you do like the 7-day free trial for the peak version of it, you can look at the heat map. And if you don't want to do that, you can look at one of There's Treasure Inside's, the unofficial podcast. They showed some screen grabs that someone had sent them, and you can look at the heat map of that whole area, and you'll see how little of that area has actually been searched. I mean, it is gigantic. It's massive. Like,
that people turned on their thing when they're going out there, because
no, you have to. All Trails is one of these sneaky companies, so you have to turn everything off. Like, if you mark any like coordinates on All Trails, it automatically defaults to public. If you don't turn off like your tracking, it automatically puts it to public. But and those aren't all searchers, and probably a lot of searchers turn those things off. But I'm just saying, like, it really puts it in perspective. Like, and it's like, I was there for like 8 or 9 days. I literally met like 5 searchers. Like, and I've done other treasure hunts in the past where it's like in one day I met like 10 or 15 people, like in a park. And one of the treasure hunts that that my team won was the Invitation. And if you look at the park that we found that at, it's not that massive of a park. and people had searched the park looking for the proxy. Mojave Minute searched it for like 25 days or something, if I remember correctly. I went there like 6 or 7 times. Sean, who ended up finding the proxy, he had been there several times for like, and this isn't like, when you go to these places that are like in the wilderness, like in the woods, like along these trails, like it's really hard just to get to the spot that you want to search. Like it takes a long time and it takes a lot out of you. It's like tough. These parks, you're just walking right in. And, you know, we had all these people, like people that have found treasures before, search this park, like a well-groomed park. There's not a lot of places to hide stuff for weeks. And for like 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, you know, and didn't find it. And knowing with a lot of certainty that it was there. So, and having clues to where it's at. I mean, a lot of people right now are just like finding an area and searching. So I'm just telling you right now, like, it's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of effort for whoever finds it. And there's a lot of people that are probably going to have a hard time with the fact that John put these in places that are like really hard to get to, kind of in a way, like there's a little bit of a barrier to entry. It's kind of like Matthew was saying, you know, it's like if you're not feeling right, you can't just go. It's not like a park. You can't just go. You don't want to put yourself in that type of situation. And there's people that I met that were walking the trail, and I mean, they were just having a hard time walking the trail to the pond. So the average person, I mean, I know like the areas I went to, like it wasn't that crazy, but it was hard. Like doing those hikes was not easy. And there's certainly a barrier to entry just to get to the place where I think the box is probably hidden. Just like the Forrest Fenn hunt. I mean, it's a lot of money. And he wanted to make it a little bit of a workout just to get to the area. Forrest Fenn's, you had to cross that river. 99% of people would not cross that river to even look for the treasure box. And I'm not saying you need to cross a river or do anything dangerous, but certainly most people won't do that. And I would say, you know, a lot of people won't even venture off the trail. And he's saying that people have been within 200 feet. Maybe the box is 300 feet off the trail. Most people are not going to venture 300 feet off a trail. Like, it's just the way it is. So, you know, 1 million people could go to that Little Rock Pond area and walk the entire trail. And, you know, how many of them, a few hundred, are gonna, you know, maybe 1,000 people out of 1 million would venture off the trail far enough to even be able to find it. And it's hard to find something, like I said, in the forest. So,
I mean, you just said a ton of stuff I can do a ton of questions on. But really quick, I want to get to this question.
I've been holding my tongue for an hour. I'm sorry. I had to defend myself.
So that being said, why don't you take a stab at this question? What's more likely? LRP trail is in the map, hinting the location is near a lake, and the other clues help identify the right lake, or LRP is the lake and trail it's by?
Well, Barry, I'd love to say great question, but LRP stands for Little Rock Pond, and you're calling it a lake. So I would say it's
the views
sorry,
of this
I don't mean to
person,
be
it does not
snarky.
represent.
If no one identified that trail publicly, and you have a seasoned treasure hunter, okay, who's done a lot of these things, and they used a method to figure out, or they just searched the whole Appalachian Trail to figure out that trail, and they saw that it matched perfectly, and it wasn't public, it'd be like, boom, confirmed. Like that is called a confirmer. Like you put something in that is like, there's no questioning it. Like it matches. Like people are saying, well, you know, this part doesn't really match. Like that trail matches. Like,
No, I think
anyone who's arguing that, it's like completely out of the question. But the reason you put something in a treasure hunt like that is so that when you land in the right spot, the general area, it's confirmed. So JCB, John, I'm just going to call him John because it's so weird calling him JCB, but John,
LRP, JCB.
yeah, John's probably like, come on, guys. Like literally it matches perfect. Like now you're in the general area. Like why are you trying to make it wrong? Like,
But you're making that assumption that just because it matches, that's what it's used for. And I think that's pretty reckless to just automatically make that assumption. Do you have any
no,
other
that's
things
like
that
what
point
you
to
do
that?
in treasure hunts. Like,
No, I know,
if
but I
not,
think
that would be a red herring because anybody would
no,
know
that
that.
wouldn't be a red herring. It could be
Yes,
used for other things on there.
no, that's like if there was some way that like the Forrest Fenn poem on the JCB boxes, if some way there was like in the wording, there's a way to identify each one of the clues and what they physically represent in real life, what they are like metaphors for. And you're able to figure out, oh, you know what? This is an abbreviation for this cool spring creek or whatever inside of there. And each one of them had something like that. And it was like emphatic. Like there's no arguing it. Like, yes, when you can see that all of them line up to something like that. And then that takes you to a very specific place. And then saying, yeah, but maybe that's just giving you a representation of something that it's like. Like that's not how these things work.
Well, that's not what I
Like,
was implying, but wouldn't it be the same as assuming in the past and future box word search that Ohio would be automatically, it's the only state mentioned by name, not by abbreviation, spelled out in the word search? Then can't we say, well, come on, John put Ohio in the word search. It must be in Ohio.
well, Ohio, okay, but let's look at this. Like you don't have to do anything to see Ohio. You don't do
You don't have to
anything.
do
It's
anything either, just to look
it
at the trail. Because if you
no,
lived right by there, you
no.
would know.
Ohio is a state and Little Rock Pond is a general
No,
area.
I'm
Like
saying is something is obvious and something that's so clear as a perfectly matched line trail that if you were an avid hiker and you knew that area well, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's the Rock Pond Trail. I know it because I've been on there before. We're not assuming that everybody would know that, but there would be somebody that says, yeah, I can recognize that because it does match so good for it. That being said,
there's a lot that's coded inside of the word search. There's a lot of coding going in on
there's
there. And
one
when
that
you
says
decipher
Ohio.
it,
Only state.
it tells you something, right? So you decipher it, it tells you something. Even though the treasure map itself is simple in its operation, you have to do something right. First of all, it's not one trail, that's two trails that match up. And he made the coin itself in a way in which most likely, I mean, I think that's obvious too, is when you use the coin, you're able to reorient the map in the exact position in which it is like naturally formed. So the fact that he would like pay someone to make the coin and he put that much thought into it in order to reorient the map, and then the map is just like, yeah, but this just means that it's near a pond or a lake. That it to me is like there's not a lot. There's a lot on the map, but there's not a lot. But the one thing that you have is like literally like you had to uncover something to find out where that area was. It didn't
You have to
say, it doesn't
uncover in the
say,
word search
it
to
doesn't say
anagram,
in
right?
plain English on the top, it doesn't say Little Rock Pond. It's not like that. Like that would be like your comparison to Ohio. It doesn't say that. You literally had to do work. The only reason you know of it possibly is because these guys put it online, but it wasn't like a super easy thing. They just like searched for it. I mean, the ones that I could track back that were like, I think the most original was like a guy's like, yeah, I'm from that area. I've hiked it a bunch of time. I recognize it. We searched it for a couple weeks. We can't find it, so we just put it online. I mean, but other than that, like it wasn't like super easy to find by any means. And like I said, it's but even now, like look how long it's been out there. And even with it most likely being in that area, no one's found it because it's not easy to find. Like I said, like the area in which was the most, I would say, like people will get mad about this, but what was generally like one of the most obvious places where Forrest Fenn's box was, it wasn't found for 10 years. And there was more people working on that treasure hunt over 10 years than have been working on the AT box or Appalachian Footpath box. And all of those people were only working on one box. And there was such a consensus on like Warm Waters Halt being like Madison Junction. And look at even people like Cynthia, like people like me. I went there. I was like, first of all, I'm not going to cross the river. And second of all, if it's over there, there's nothing to me that was like discerning enough where I thought that I would be able to find it. I'm like, I could look there for like weeks. I would never find it because it could be anywhere. And you're having to crawl over down trees the whole time.
Let's let Wick here. I know he's got stuff on his mind. I'm sure Matt's got stuff on his mind. Let's have them chime in. Wick.
Yeah. So, general question, 3D. I think you're right. I think Little Rock Pond is a like 99% match to the trail system. So if that's true, then we only need to go to one spot there, then, right? Because everything's a match, and it literally says end here with the triangle up here by Biscuit. So why would you search anywhere in Little Rock Pond other
I'll
than
move Biscuit.
the end game? On my screen, on my background.
Yeah.
Like he literally says go here or whatever. Like this is where you stop. So if it lines up on the trail and you can see exactly where it is, then that's where it is, right? Nowhere else to go search. If that's your
Most
logic.
likely in that area, yeah.
But a lot of people have been there.
How many
So
people
what-
have
so
been
what-
there?
Seemingly a lot. I mean, just go look online. But I mean, generally speaking, what would you?
I mean,
look
but I
for in
was
that
there for
area?
8 days. I saw, I think 1 or 2 people were up in that area.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the course of a year and a half, though. That's a lot of people have been to Little Rock Pond in a year and a half. Searching for
I'm
shit.
telling you, like these treasure hunts, people have literally been in the park for months in a park, a groomed park. Like, I
Yeah,
think,
I've been boots on the ground like 8 times. I mean, I'm not as
yeah.
seasoned as
Have you
are.
been up there?
No, because I'm in Georgia.
I mean,
but
it's like,
but I've seen the
it's
videos.
hard just to get up there. It's not easy to get up there. So like when you get up there, you're not spending like 8 or 9 or 10 hours most likely up there. But like literally like it's not easy to get up there, and there's a million places it could be. I mean,
Well, I know 3D's got the lion's share box because to your right, 3D, you got a pretty darn huge, shiny lion's share box there.
that's it. That's it right there. No, I wish.
But isn't there a lot on the map other than the trail, though?
Yeah.
If you were to remove the map, 3D, could you,
You mean the trail?
with confidence, find the trail on the map? Do you have other things that would put you there?
You're saying like besides the trail, do I have a reason to go search over there?
Yeah.
No. I think that if with the way that he words, with the way he worded the 3 ways to find the box, if you were able to solve it the more precise way, I think that person, whoever does that, might be the person to find it.
So
I was saying that the most precise way is to go to literally the spot that matches the trail where the end triangle is. That would be the most precise way, correct? I mean, it's right there. Handy.
No, I don't think so, because
if you orient the map correctly, it matches Little Rock Pond, and then therefore you know precisely the right area to go. If that's your train of thought.
well, where
I-
the
I-
triangle is not at Little Rock Pond.
It's on the trail system on the Lawn Trail. I'm aware.
You mean the Green Mountain Trail?
Well, yes, correct. 3 Mountain Trail, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on that other.
I mean, if we're
trail,
just
but
talking
it's-
like precisely, like I would say, yeah, it probably drops you off in like a general area. I mean, I think he, like he said, he created 3 different ways to find it, and one of them takes you to one you'll have a lot of confidence in. That was the second way he mentions, right? He says the first way takes you to a fairly exact place. The second way takes you to a place that's a larger search area, but you'll have more confidence in.
right.
and the
third
area that's
Then
Is
precise way.
even larger area, but it's doable type of thing, right? Which is like,
Yeah.
that's the way I think you just kind of throw out, which is like,
So have you then done your due diligence as a treasure hunter / creator of saying, okay, I have high confidence that it's in this area because the trail matches. Now let me try to confirm that by something else, because there's a ton of stuff on that map. I know there's a lot,
Mhm.
right? Is there anything else that you can find that would put you into that location? Like if
I
you're
think
going to
that
say
I
only
think that is,
thing,
I don't know that it was engineered in a way in which that's even going to happen.
I'm starting to
Because
feel
like,
better about that bet we had now.
why?
Because if you're
I mean, you're
only
just
going off
randomly looking in the forest,
one
but
thing,
I
if
don't
you're
even think
telling
you
me
found
that
off the trail.
JCB hid a couple $100,000 box and he only is requiring one thing.
Eric, did
in
you
that-
walk off the trail more than 10 feet?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been up to about over 100 feet, 100, 200 feet, close to 200 feet off trail.
Yeah. I think that he didn't have anyone play test it. Okay. So it's like with the treasure hunt I'm creating right now, like when you create a treasure hunt, you have an idea of like, I think this is solvable, but no two people think exactly the same. And especially when it's like a high stakes treasure hunt, right? So you don't know, and maybe that's why you created 3 methods, but I mean, you don't know what someone's going to be able to solve and not be able to solve. So there's a high likelihood that he created a really difficult way. Obviously, there's been tons of people that have been working on this problem and they haven't solved it. Some very highly intelligent people. I mean, you have groups of people at like MIT and stuff that have been working on these chapters trying to figure them out. People much smarter than myself, but they haven't. So it's possible that he over engineered the way that gets you to a more precise location in a way in which maybe no one's going to ever figure out. And even when he talks, he says, I'd still like to know, to hear how you found it or to hear that someone found it, even if it's not the way I intended. So he knows that there's a good chance that someone's going to find it just by kind of like what we call like brute force attack, right? Which is just you basically go and grid search, and it's like Forrest Fenn's. Forrest Fenn had his way. He thought someone was going to kind of find it. And Jack just kind of narrowed down the general area and then just brute force attacked it and looked for over 25 days, a lot of which he's probably using a metal detector. Like, I don't know if you've ever grid searched anything for 25 days, like in a forest climbing over trees. Like, just doing the type of like searches I've done for a few days, like, that's nuts. Like, it takes a special type of person. You have to have the means and able to go back to these places like over and over again. And yeah, and you have to have the confidence. And I'll just tell you, like, most people that are going and searching in the general areas of these boxes, there's just like a handful of people that are really doing the searching. I think that it's going to take, but I think most people, they just stay on the trail. Like 9 out of 10 searchers, they walk the trail and they're like, oh my gosh, if it's in the forest, I'm never going to find it. Then there's like a smaller group of people that will actually veer off and like search, and maybe they'll search for a day, maybe 2 days. They kind of poke around and then they leave. But like the people that are going to find these things, it's going to take, either they're going to get kind of lucky in a way when they search and they might find it one of the first times. But I really think whoever finds the AT box, the Pokemon box, at least those two, it's going to take a lot of searching, like a lot.
I think the difference between like mine is you can either call it boots on the ground searching or boots on the ground recon.
Right.
The times that I've, like this recent trip was mostly on the trail that I was on, which wasn't on the Appalachian Trail. Not all of them, right? Some were side trails. And I needed to get an understanding that I was confident enough to come back and then do my heavy searching on it, right? That was the whole purpose of this trip, because I had some general locations that I felt strongly about, but not strong enough to start kicking over things. I did go off trail a couple times out there, wasn't that far off trail, but I wanted to poke around and see what.
Right, and you probably, I mean, would you say that you did enough off-trail searching that if it were even in one of those areas that you think it was likely you would have found it?
No, not
Right.
at all.
And
Because
that's
I
most
wasn't
people.
sure about that trail.
Yeah. And I'm not digging at anybody. I'm not
No, I
digging
know
at
you're not.
anybody. I'm just saying that like most people, myself included in a lot of situations, they don't have the confidence to search in an area. They search, they look around, they say, man, this place has been looked at. Like, you can see there's holes dug out everywhere. Like, it's kind of like Wick, like you were saying, like, don't you think it would have been found if it was there already? There's been a lot of people that search there. I'm just telling you that, like, even like the last treasure hunt that I did in Vegas, and like it was pretty obvious, like the park that I put it in. I mean, people had been there for a couple weeks looking and didn't find it. I mean, and people that live locally and they can just drive down the street and look every day. And some of them looked exactly where it was and just missed it. And it's just like I said, it's you're in the woods. It's hard to find. I just I really think people are to discount a place because people already look there. Look at The Secret, you know? It's like
That's not what I
people
was saying. That's not what I was saying. I mean, I don't think you can fully discount it because a lot of people look there. But I think if you're going by what you were saying earlier, that the trail matches precisely, then why would you look anywhere in on the Green Mountain Trail other than where the end is right there? And that's your search spot, right? That's your general area.
I think that will give you the general area, yeah. But he didn't put it, but that general area is close to the trail. So like you're basically getting dropped off on top of a mountain.
Right.
So
So it doesn't really make sense for the most part. Because that the
I mean,
spot
we'll
that you're
see how
talking
much
about does
sense it,
match.
it makes when the box is found. I mean,
Oh, correct. Hindsight is what it is.
it's yeah, it's just kind of like I don't know. I mean, the most obvious place is where you'd search first, right? But then you kind of have
Yeah.
to branch out from there. But according to his own words, the solve in which you have the most confidence in, and that's the thing, is if you're going off his words, you're not even going to have as much confidence with the solve, the solution that gets you to a more precise spot. So you're going to have more confidence in the solution that takes you to a more general area than you will in the solution that gets you to a more precise spot. So there's not going to be something you solve that says you will find it at these coordinates. You're
Yeah.
going to find something that points to a certain spot, and that is going to be more precise than what you're talking about, like it dropping you off. So the way in which people have more confidence going is what? Probably following the trail to that area like you're talking about. But
Yeah.
that's going to lead you, like he says, not to a precise spot like you're mentioning. Like, wouldn't you check the precise spot? But in his own words, he has said the way in which you have the most confidence in going is going to give you a larger area to search.
Matt, I think Matt needs to chime in here. He's, we've been leaving him out here. You got anything to add, Matt?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm taking it in. I mean, first off, I feel like from this map being matched, like that's the area that I think it's in. I haven't been in the area, I haven't been around, but like, why would he put such a large area, so much real estate on this just to be like, oh, well, it's just to orient where north is. There's so many other. He has a compass there. Why not use the compass or something else? So that's me. I mean, I haven't been on any of these trails or any of that, so I'm not knowledgeable in that regard. But why else would he put it? I think to the point of the begin here, kind of end there. Like, why would he have this whole thing without having a clear? And I mean, to me, it's like if he puts an X, like, 2/3 away on the map, that feels super obvious. So, I mean, I don't know. To me, it should be in that area, or that's such a confirmer. And maybe that's just me because I know I'm terrible at finding things in the woods, but it's hard to do that. I mean, even past hunts, The Secret that's been going on for 40 years, which is when I kind of worked on. Granted, it's in the ground, and that's a whole different element. But
Right.
to be fair, we don't know where these are outside of the Pokemon box being up 7 feet in a tree. That's the only one we know. But we don't know. Like, it legitimately could be in a tree. It could be inside a
yeah.
tree. It could be in a cave. It could be. We don't know what we're looking for, and so
Yeah,
I
you don't
think
even know what it
that's-
looks like.
Yeah, and even just like, oh, here's a place. Like, he's not gonna put it like as cool. It would have been Eric in the like light shining down in this open area. Like,
Or
there
by
it
the
is,
bear I
done.
saw. The bear was
Like-
guarding it.
yeah, exactly. It's going to be hidden. We don't fully understand how that hiddenness is, but it's hard enough to find something that you lose in the woods, even when like 20 feet. Like 20 feet is hard if it's in this like high woods. I mean, I'm again speaking disc golf and geocaching. Those are my things that I do, but I don't know. I think it's there. I mentioned that I was kind of going back into it, trying to find the icons. Like myself, I've been looking at, I mean, there's the mile markers. That feels like a pretty big area that he could have put numbers in for that. Granted, I'm not super far in there, but like coordinates or that for a number sort of thing, the icons, like, I mean, I know there's like what Big Branch near this trail that people have mentioned for the tree. I don't know if, what is it, Old Lodge, or let me see, Old Job is like an old mill, I think, which could be like, if you think the carpet mill, and then the apple, I think there used to be apple trees around there, which I don't know if that's stuff, but I guess reverse engineering it, it seems like there could be some places. Even the Whitestone Junction, I think, is another one around that mile mark. But going back to it, it's like, it seems like such a huge area. It would be hard to find it, even if like all we have is somewhere on this trail, Little Rock Pond. I think it would still take a while. Granted, if we knew it 100% and everyone's flooding in there, I think it would probably be found by now, versus there's a shadow of a doubt that it's not. But even if it was like, oh hey, I hit something 5 miles from Little Rock Pond, like that area of the water, it would still take a long time to find, because we don't know.
5 miles is a long way.
Yeah, so it's one of those, I think we underestimate how truly hard it is to find an object, is at least my perspective. So sorry, I feel like I rambled a little bit there, but
Not
No,
as much
you-
as I do.
Yeah, you got 3D Browns here. He's
okay, touche.
I
he's
just,
filibustering on my show.
yeah, if you like, I dropped a screw like right here on the ground. Like I was disassembling one of my 3D printers to fix it. I dropped a screw. Like the floor is like relatively clean. It's not a huge space. I looked for it for like 2 hours because it takes like days to get a new screw. I could not find it. I looked the next day for like an hour. Like it is, I used a magnet. Like it is,
Mhm.
it is difficult to find something, even though when you know with certainty it is there. It's like if you've ever dropped like a ring or keys or something like in grass, like at some type of event or something, like it's hard to find. I mean, I lose stuff all the time. I have 4 tape measures because of that. Like you people, like I said, if you go to that area, you'll see there's not that many people there. Like people have videos of like, oh, the parking lot's full. Like I was there during like really great weather, and sometimes like my car was the only one in the parking lot. Other times there's like one other car, and this is like during really good weather. There's not like a ton of people like searching, and you could only search there during certain times during the year, and that area that it ends, the trail ends at on the treasure map. There's not very many people going all the way up there, and it's a big, difficult area to search.
So that being said, do you think a box is going to be found this year?
No.
Me too.
No.
How about
No.
you, Matt?
Oof. I mean, earlier on, I was like maybe one in 2026, but since we're already halfway here, I feel like I'd have to say I don't think so as well. I think it's hard enough a challenge, and
Yeah.
this one specifically, I think we're missing one. I think if there's one major breakthrough, I think we could be pretty close to a more exact location. But yeah, no, to that
I
question.
don't think anybody's going to find it this year because everybody's looking at Little Rock Pond.
Oh,
Maybe not enough people are.
I was
You know,
gonna
and
say-
it's
Little
it's
Rock
kinda-
Lake. We're on
Yeah,
the
it's-
body of water.
Yeah. It's creepy to like, that's the other thing too, is like, I think like everything is different when you're on the ground. And it's like, Ohio Jones went like the week before me or whatever, a few days
Yeah.
before me. He saw a bear. The first 20 minutes I was on the trail, a bear was coming right at me on the trail. And then like you saw a bear, Eric. So it's like, there's things that like you're just kind of not ready for. And for the rest of the like 8 days I was there, I was just like extremely like paranoid, like head on swivel. Like you go hike out like 3.5, 4 miles somewhere and like you're tired and there's no one around. It's just creepy, just like searching around. And then you're pushing through trees and you're on like the sides of like mountains and stuff. Like it's tough terrain. Like it really is. So I mean,
So
all
that
those
being
are
said,
factors.
when you see that bear out there, because this is a thought that went through my head, how much are you going to start grid searching after you saw that bear? Is that going to affect you?
I mean, I kept at it, but it was like definitely, it's like when you get down in like darker areas or you're like, it's starting to get a little bit later and you're like thinking about like, oh, what the cloud coverage is going to be like. Because when you're in the trees, cloud
it's
coverage
not
makes it a
darker.
lot darker. On the hike back, there's lots of like places where it looks like bears could be like in dens and stuff. It's kind of creepy. So yeah, you're thinking about all these things when you're out there, and it does obviously impact. Like if there were no bears out there, nothing like that. I mean, I saw porcupine, bear, deer, snake. I mean, I saw all kinds of wonderful animals. I mean, it sounded like JCB didn't really see much of anything, but yeah, it definitely makes grid searching a little bit harder when you're like afraid that you might get attacked by a bear.
Yeah, no, it does, because those bears are no joke. I mean, they're like way bigger than me. And I'm like, whoa. But he is just cool. He's just like hanging out. It's like, yeah, whatever. I smell your beef jerky in your backpack, but I'm not gonna mess with
It
you.
is.
Like,
It is different though, I think too, when you're like with someone else. Like I would say like most people that go searching, like I really wanted to go with other people and we kind of had plans, but like things change and like it's hard to coordinate. But it is a little bit different like when you see a bear or something and you're by yourself and when you see a bear and you're with someone else, like I think, or when you're just searching, being with someone else, like it is much safer. I would recommend anybody that goes out anywhere, go with someone else.
are you implying that I felt safer? Laura was with me because I could probably run faster.
Well, I know
than
you
her.
felt safer. I don't know if she felt any safer.
No, she didn't, because when I was out looking off the trail, she walked up on a big rock and started singing because she read that if you're making noise, the bear's not gonna get her. And she was like, "What do I do?" She had a bear spray out. It's like, I'm nowhere to be found.
Yeah, bears don't generally like seek out to attack people, right? So the main
Right.
reason people get
The
attacked is
black bears,
because
yeah.
yeah, because they like walk around
Grizzly
the corner and
bears,
the bear's
whole
right
different
there.
ballgame.
Oh.
Yeah.
Polar.
Yeah, because the bear doesn't know that the person is there, and so the bear gets startled and attacks. I mean, the bear when I saw it got startled and ran away, but yeah, you don't want to sneak up on one. So if you're with someone else talking, that can do a lot.
Don't play with the
And
cubs.
yeah. And if you're like me, I was singing, pirate songs the whole way because I was just trying to make enough noise to like let everything know my presence. And some of the guys I ran into when I was searching, they were like, I was like, yeah, I was over here searching. They're like, oh yeah, we heard you. And I'm like, oh, they were probably super annoying. I'm not a great singer.
Laura sang her bear song. Do not eat me. I don't taste good.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so 3D, you are a treasure hunt creator as well, and we talked about this earlier. I don't know if you caught this, but how? What are your thoughts about putting GPS coordinates and clues, and then if so, how detailed, how far past the decimal point do you go in putting those GPS coordinates in there, if you do?
Well, I would like right away, I would say there's no GPS coordinates, in my opinion, in the AT solution, because if there were, he wouldn't answer that question the way he did. So if you decode something to GPS coordinates and those coordinates are in that area in which you think it should be, you're going to have an exact location and you're going to go there with extreme confidence. And those two things don't live together in that statement that he made. So that to me is like, for at least this one, it's not a thing. But as far as coordinates, I mean, that's one of those things like I talked about as far as like the trail. When the trail matches, that's a confirmer. When you decode something and you have coordinates, you don't need them to be, it's like a geocache. It doesn't need to be necessarily super precise because that's where it's at, right? So like you can search long enough. But when he says someone's been within 300 feet, well, that could be someone that walked off the trail 100 feet. And so it could be within 300 feet of the trail on either side. And when you go even a short distance there, you're talking about a massive amount of area to search on unlevel ground. So I think, yeah, if you put coordinates into something, it doesn't have to be all the way down to the square inch, because when you decode it, you know that it's there and you can do enough searching in a short amount of time to be able to find it.
Now,
Having extreme confidence is something that really goes a long way.
Now, this doesn't have to pertain to this box, but in general, since we're on the topic, any other box, if you were to put a coordinates in there, do you feel that anything past a second number to the right of the decimal? I mean, if you only have, say, two numbers to the left of the decimal, 2 to 3 to the right, is that even going to help you? Because
I mean, what I would define it a different way. Like your question is better suited as like, how large of a search area is good to give someone when you're wanting them to find something and they've like solved down to something, right?
yeah.
So for John, that question is going to be different. I think clearly it's a lot larger than a lot of treasure hunts, right? And I think he did that to make it a little bit more difficult. And John's mindset is a little bit different than ours. John he's a hiker, and I think for him, he said it before, like, this is not something that you should be mad that you go looking one time and you don't find it, because it's a lot of money and it's going to take a lot of effort in order to find them. And so I think his solutions for at least these two boxes, it's going to just get you to a relatively large area, and then you're going to have to kind of find it. When he was asked, is it something you can grid search in a day? He says, well, how close at the conference? He said, well, how close are you starting? How close are you getting? And then he gives the example of that conference room and says, well, if you were in the size of this conference room, you could probably grid search that in a day. But like that conference room was pretty big. I mean, maybe someone should look up the square footage of it. Like, yeah, how many hours do you think in the woods it would take you to like grid search that area? And so maybe a lack of like participation in other treasure hunts for him like gives him like a skewed perspective, but it would be kind of unreasonable in most treasure hunts for the creator to lead you to an area the size of that conference room and expect you to be able to find it on a day of grid searching. Because if that was in woods on a mountain or next to a lake or something, it would take you much more than a day to grid search and find the box, in my opinion, in most cases. So it just really depends on the area, but in most cases it would take you, because the box literally, if it's in like a black Pelican box, you could literally like, and this will happen, watch, when someone finds one of these boxes, there's going to be multiple people that say, I walked right by that thing and didn't see it. And I'm not saying it's laying on the ground, but it could be laying on the ground and people can walk right by it. I mean, K-Pro's been within a few inches of one. I was within a few feet of one before that I didn't find. Me and Sean, Sean, Mojave Menace, and like two other people literally walked on top of the invitation proxy. Like we literally searched, like I grid searched that spot already, like looking for it in that same exact spot. So did Sean, like moving stuff around right next to it. And so did several other people, and like looked probably right at it and didn't see it. Like it's hard to find stuff.
So when you're saying there's no GPS coordinates in the Appalachian Alpha Path, the map. So any of the numbers on there you're discounting as GPS coordinates.
Oh, because I get where you're going with it. You're kind of saying, so do you mean as like a confirmer of the general area, kind of like people trying to look for like Little Rock Pond? Like it should somehow like have something that maybe in the chapter text that hints you to Little Rock Pond, and then
just a map. You have this.
Okay, so, but what I'm saying though is, you're saying like if there was like general coordinates that could get you to that general area, then that's like a second confirmer.
Yeah.
I mean, he could use something like that. I mean, but I don't know that that's not going to help anybody find it if it's something like that. That's just going to give people more confidence. But man, I swear, I'm not even kidding, Eric. There's so many people, maybe like yourself. I love you, man. But there's so many people like yourself that if that were the case, they would still fight against that. Like, well, I know the trail matches perfectly, and there is coordinates that get you to the very center of Little Rock Pond. But I mean, those numbers could mean anything, and maybe that.
No, I mean, my biggest question was just to get your thought on, because it could be. I mean, look, I'm not here to tell people what's right and what's wrong or anything, except for it's you.
And we already have our bet, so
we already have our bet. I was just trying to clarify when you had said when I asked you about GPS coordinates as a treasure hunt creator and searcher. If you know, and how would you use those? And if maybe if you thought they were in JCB used them, and you had told me that in the Appalachian Footbed box, I'll tell you, there's not, there aren't. He didn't use GPS coordinates. Then on my rebuttal was, you know, now was, what do we do with the numbers that are on the map then?
I mean, if I could tell you that, I'd probably have a box. I think that
So you're not discounting that they could be then.
I'm not discounting anything. Like my
So you take back
and
your comment that you said there's no GPS coordinates on it.
I really don't think, based off of what he said, that it would make sense that you're getting GPS coordinates that lead you like straight to the box. I
I'm
don't
not
think
saying
so.
straight to the box because you would need some pretty long numbers to get straight.
I don't think he literally, like, if you read the chat, you should read the chapter again. He says like
Oh, trust me,
basically,
my first
I
like
made-
6 months
I made-
was based off the chapter. Like,
yeah, I know you were
I just
ignoring
found
the
that, so I
coins
have-
because you didn't think the coins could possibly be
Right.
used in any
You're
way.
right. I didn't.
So
I didn't.
I
think
would say based off of what he said, like he literally said, like, I made a map and the path leads you to my treasure. And I probably shouldn't have made it so obvious, but what is done is done. And that's like the last, like one of the last few lines in the chapter. He literally, and then you find the path and the
He
path
says all he
lines
needs
up.
a map. 3D.
Yeah, and the path on the map lines up. I think that when you have something that gets you, when you have a more precise clue that is so simple, you wouldn't create a less precise clue that is more general. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
It does, but I'm not going to beat a dead horse with a stick. But my final question to you on this would be, how will you, or how would you feel if in fact I'm right and you were not right?
Right
And
about
not in the
what?
sense of it not being in Little Rock Pond. Not in a sense of, oh, I'm
I don't think it's at Little
never
Rock
gonna-
Pond.
I'm never going to you know, throw shade on it, right? If in fact, if the box is found outside of Vermont, how is that going to make you feel about how this box was hidden, how the clues are written on the map?
How will it make me feel?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been wrong. I'm not.
If you're really
guaran-
confident that he literally says he made a map and everything, and you come to this with a high degree of certainty because you're basing your whole solve on that trail alone. Okay, and that's fine, and I'm not knocking it at all.
Yeah, I don't really have a solve. I would say I don't really have a solve. Like, I'm like doing it the hard. I'm trying to do it the hard way, which is how most people are trying to do it that are actually like going boots on the ground. Is like and which is kind of the way in which sometimes things have to be solved. When you look at treasure hunts in the past that are done by like first time treasure hunt creators, and they're not people that are like necessarily like in that mindset, they're just people that decided just like, hey, I'm going to do a treasure hunt. A lot of times those people, they make things in a way in which it's almost more obvious, but to like people that are like maybe overthinkers, they think it's just it can't be that simple. And like there's no way, like you're just supposed to lead to this general area and just search for it. But literally, like, what does John say when he talks about like the people that were close? Like, what does he say? He doesn't say, he didn't say if people would just study the map more and figure out exactly what I'm trying to tell them. He doesn't say that. He didn't say like with Pokemon, he doesn't say if people could just decipher the clues the right way and find the coordinates. He says if everyone that went last year went this year and searched within 200 feet of where they searched, it would be found. That's what he said for both boxes. So he's basically saying like, and he even said people were really close, but they weren't perseverant, right? So he said, like, he gave the example of Sam and Dave, the book, where they were an inch away from the diamond thing. They did that like 10 times. They just didn't keep looking. And it's just going to take people just to keep looking, persevere. And that's not saying you need to solve more. That's saying, hey, these people have been close, but they're just giving up. So I think that he's dropping you off in a general area. You're doing an Easter egg hunt and no one's found the egg yet.
Well, I'm going to persevere on my original question to you that you filibustered around. And this, how would you feel if the box is not found in Vermont? Doesn't he have to
In
be
the
found
state
in
of Vermont,
Yeah.
I mean, I just think
'Cause there's people
I'll
that
be
think
wrong.
it's in North Carolina too. There's people think New York. There's people think other states as well.
I mean, I think that I'll just accept the fact that I'm wrong. I definitely can be wrong. I've been wrong many times
Right,
before.
but
When I've gone
as a
boots on the
treasure hunt
ground,
creator-
but I will put my money where my mouth is, and I will tell you that like when I've gone boots on the ground on treasure hunts, I don't have a lot of paid time off. I don't have a lot of money to go searching. When I go search, and every treasure hunt I think that I've ever gone on, me or my team members, we've every single time have been within close proximity to them. I can't think of any time where me and my team have not. And I'm working with a lot of people that are much smarter than me. And I'm just telling you, like from experience, like I think that I've been really close to it. And I think that yeah, I have confidence it's in Vermont, or I wouldn't go. I don't have the resources to just go like, well, I'm gonna go do reconnaissance to like see if it feels right, because it's like even John says, oh, it's in a beautiful place, but it's like Forrest Finn said his was in a beautiful place. But if you stood where like the chest was, it's not like what most people thought of like what a beautiful spot would be. But how will I feel? I'll just be like, hey, I was wrong, you know, and I accept that as a possibility.
fair.
But you have to have confidence. Like if you don't go to the spot, like you can't go to the spot and search without confidence and find it. You're not going to, because you're not going to search hard enough to find it.
No, that's good. And on that note, we're at 2 hours here. And I'm sure everybody's ready to get off the call. I appreciate you coming on, 3D. Matt,
I had to
appreciate
defend
you coming
myself.
on.
I was like going like this, like sitting here watching the show.
We're just responding in kind to the rhetoric. And 3D does come on and back up what he says. So I respect that from him. And hopefully this box is found soon so I can retrieve the gift of our bet. So we will have to do this again sometime. Thank you everybody for sticking around. It's getting late. I have a long drive to North Carolina after work tomorrow. So
Woohoo.
yes.
Good luck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks. We'll see you guys.